Right.
Hello, weekly.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about, how do you call this? How would I say
Urticaria.
this? It was suggested to us on Threads by some Threads followers. So, like we had said, and we've told you guys a million times, throughout any social media, in this case it was Threads, but anywhere in Instagram, Facebook, I don't know, name it, Twitter. We're doing pretty good on Twitter these days, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like I was like,
We got a shout out randomly from Jack in the Box, and we were like, what? We don't even have Jack in the Box in Florida.
I know. I was like,
But that chicken fajita looks good.
I know. I was like, man, I wish they were here in Miami. Like, come on, Jack. But, anyway, so we had two requests and we're going to cover those two because they just so happen to be kind of related to each other. They're both, how do you say that word?
How do you say that word?
Urticaria?
Urticaria? Urticaria.
Urticaria. I would have never landed there.
Or, you could just say in
Never
Spanish, like, urticaria.
Urticaria. Yeah. So we're here to cover it because
Urticaria, so just a lot of itchy.
we've told you guys, that to send us in suggestions or whatever it is that you guys want us to cover, and we are sticking to our word. I honestly knew very little about this. I didn't know it was as extensive. And didn't you say that you kind of had something?
I have like exercise-induced urticaria.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
No shit.
Yeah, I have that. That's really annoying and it's really frustrating, and it goes away, but the feeling of urticaria
Yeah.
is so uncomfortable.
Oh,
Like it's almost a little bit anxiety provoking.
really?
Yeah, because you just feel it coming on, and I think it's just a lot of histamine that's being released. Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
Julie is 2 Celsiuses in.
Yeah.
I'm a coffee and a Celsius in.
Yeah. Well, we started real early, which for me, that's something.
Julie's so nice to me.
Oh, dude. I mean, it is what it is. You work like crazy, so
Yeah, I'm rounding this weekend, right?
yeah. She rounded and then she got over here. So the least
Yeah.
I'm gonna do is wake my fucking ass up.
I'm over here like knocking on patients' door at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hello, good morning. Ready to go home? Because I am. The mom is like breastfeeding. Dad is like disheveled.
Yeah.
Like,
all the dads.
everyone has bloodshot eyes.
I love
And
how
I'm
that-
over here like crispy, just like
Yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning. Let's go. We gotta get discharges. Quick, just drive.
Oh my god.
Dad, did you get the car seat? Did they do audiology? Did they do this? Did they do that? Did birth certificate pass by? Did everything? Okay,
my
yeah.
God.
Did the baby pee? How many times did they poop? How many times? How many minutes?
It's like I don't even know if I pooped or peed. It's like-
And they're just staring at me with blank faces.
Oh my god. I love how the dads sometimes look more disheveled than the mom that literally just birthed a human.
Yeah.
I love that. I've seen that so many times. I think Mario himself, which is a doctor as well, looked more disheveled than I did on the day. He was just, the crazy, this and that. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay. My insides are still recovering.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
We will leave soon.
He was freaking out more about the car seat than anything else.
Oh.
I was like, calm down. And then he was also dealing with the step
Oh,
at the same time. Yeah,
Terrible.
he's going through a lot of that on Mars' birth. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start this up. And we're going to be talking about urticaria, which is, like she said, hives induced by things that you wouldn't think that
Yeah.
they would be induced by.
Yeah, I hate hives.
Yeah. So go ahead and start with the first one.
All right, so let's start with cold urticaria. So what is it? So cold urticaria is a chronic skin condition characterized by the development of itchy, red welts or hives on the skin after an exposure to cold temperatures. So key points about this is that there are 2 main types. So acquired or essential, okay, cold urticaria, which is more common, and then the familial cold urticaria, which is an inherited form of it, okay? So it's pretty rare. So the exact cause is often unknown, but it can be primarily idiopathic. That is the most common version, or secondary to underlying conditions like an infection, blood disorders, or rarely inherited autosomal dominant patterns. Allergies can also cause this type of symptoms. The diagnosis involves placing an ice cube on the skin for a few minutes to see if hives develop. So it's also known as the cold stimulation test. Further testing may be done to rule out secondary causes, but yeah, that's usually the way that we test for cold urticaria. So the treatment focuses on preventative measures, just like taking an antihistamine. Why? Because urticaria is a kind of like a histamine response, right? So that's why you're having like these welts and this itchiness. It's intensely itchy. That's what usually patients complain about. There's like it's crazy itchy and it pops out on some portions of your body and then goes away and then pops out in others. And it can look pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
So people tend to freak out about it. But treatment focuses on preventative measures, just like taking an antihistamine before cold exposures and avoid sudden cold temperature changes. So severe cases may require an epinephrine autoinjector for anaphylaxis, again, because it's a histamine reaction, okay? Histamine release. So the condition often resolves on its own within a few years, especially in younger patients, but can persist long-term in some cases. So avoidance of triggers and appropriate treatment allows most people to manage the symptoms pretty effectively. So in summary, cold urticaria causes allergic skin reactions like hives in cold temperatures. And truly, we don't really know why that underlying mechanism, like we don't know that mechanism, but it can usually be well controlled with allergy meds. So like a Zyrtec or a loratadine or Claritin, all of that. You can also see a dermatologist. You can see an allergist. I mean, I mainly take care of children. I'm sorry, let me just rephrase that. I only take care of children, but sometimes I treat my friends and adults and stuff.
That's what ends up happening. I mean,
Yeah, but usually you should be going to an allergist or at least a dermatologist because sometimes they do kind of play around with medications because they obviously like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Not that they play around with meds. I'm saying that they deal with urticaria. Okay, so they know how to manipulate certain things that maybe a person like me might not have so much experience.
Right.
But yeah, so definitely you can be under the guidance of an allergist or a dermatologist. And prompt recognition and treatment is important to avoid potentially severe complications like anaphylaxis. Okay?
Yeah.
So you want to talk about the symptoms?
Sure. So the main symptoms include, like she had said, itchy red skin and hives. I'm already like itching just by reading this. Anyway, on areas of the skin that have been exposed to cold temperatures, usually within 2 to 5 minutes after exposure. The reaction often worsens as the skin warms back. So which is crazy, it's like you think removing yourself from the situation, but no.
Yeah. I think it's just that temperature change.
Yeah.
You're just very sensitive to it.
Right. Swelling of the affected skin areas, such as hands after holding cold objects. Yeah. And it's like just by holding like something cold, or lips and tongue after consuming cold food or drinks. In some cases, a whole body response can occur, especially after swimming in cold water, which may include fainting, swelling, racing heartbeats, and shock. So don't do cold plunges if you have this.
Yeah.
Other possible symptoms are headache, lightheadedness, I cannot talk right now, or a burning sensation in the skin after cold exposure. With familial cold urticaria,
Urticaria.
Urticaria, which is very rare. Symptoms like painful rashes and flu-like symptoms may occur 24 to 48 hours after cold exposure and last longer. Severity of symptoms vary between individuals, ranging from mild localized hives to severe anaphylactic reactions with difficulty breathing and loss of consciousness in extreme cases. So in summary, this is most commonly presents in red, itchy skin and hives rapidly after exposure to the cold, but symptoms can vary significantly in location, in your body, or severity and time, of course, depending on the type and individual factors involved. Of course, the faster you treat this, the better, and potentially like avoiding it to become something severe. And how can it be prevented?
Yeah. So a lot of the times you don't really know, like, the cause that's going to happen, like the cause of your urticaria, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So I feel like it's really hard to prevent, but people that have chronic, okay, so chronic urticaria, like they know it's going to happen. It always happens and never fails. But basically there are a few strategies that may help prevent or reduce the risk of cold urticaria reactions. So one, avoid it, right? So avoid that cold exposure or like water, food, or drinks. Wear warm protective clothing like jackets, hats, gloves in cold weather. Avoid swimming in cold water. Test the water's temperature before just like completely jumping in.
Yeah.
And then drink room temperature beverages without ice. Skip cold foods like ice cream, frozen. Wow, that's just like a sad life. All right.
That's very sad.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible. So take an over-the-counter antihistamine. This is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Just if you know that you're going to do something that's going
Yeah.
to cause it, just take the Zyrtec.
Exactly. And
I mean, there's people that take these like 3 to 4 times a day.
damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can. It's not recommended,
Right.
but for people that have like really chronic urticaria,
Yeah.
then they do sometimes.
Well, I could only imagine people with this that they live up in the north and it's like dead of winter. You have to.
No.
Like, what else
I
are you
just
gonna do?
move to the Caribbean.
Yeah. I mean, if you have this, might as well.
Yeah. So take over-the-counter antihistamines, medications before anticipated cold exposure, as recommended by your doctor, obviously. But this can help prevent or minimize that histamine release symptoms. So it might not like completely take care of it, but it'll definitely not be so severe. Carry an EpiPen. Honestly, thank God I've never had to prescribe an EpiPen
Yeah.
for urticaria before. It's usually not so intense, but if you are that person that experiences a crazy swelling, then yeah, you should carry an EpiPen with you,
Absolutely.
especially if you're having like those symptoms of like a severe allergic reaction. So avoid other potential triggers like stress, anxiety, exercise, sunlight. Yeah, just live like a little mole rat, like in a cave. No, totally doable.
Hence why I take the meds.
And don't you dare, you live like a little mole rat, don't you dare take some ice cream with you in that little cave.
To make you feel better about your loneliness.
Yeah,
Like,
you will eat dirt and warm water. It's disgusting.
oh, just take the Zyrtec.
To avoid the allergen as much as possible, okay?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty rare for people to have anaphylactic reactions, okay? However, since the exact cause of cold urticaria is often unknown, there aren't any proven strategies to completely just prevent it, like for it to like never happen ever again.
Yeah.
So managing the condition relies heavily on avoiding the triggers and being prepared to treat the reaction if it does occur. So working closely with an allergist or a dermatologist is important to develop the individualized prevention and a plan so you know what to do when it does happen.
Yeah. So can it be completely cured? No.
No, we just said nope.
Yeah, absolutely not. However, the symptoms can be well managed with appropriate treatment and preventative measures. So key points about long-term outlook and treatment of having this. So the condition sometimes resolves on its own within a few years, especially in younger patients, but it can persist long-term or even be lifelong in some cases. There are no proven strategies to prevent cold urticaria.
Cold urticaria.
Did I say it right? Okay. From occurring in the first place, since the exact cause is often unknown. Treatment focuses on controlling the symptoms and preventing severe reactions. This includes taking the antihistamines, just preventing everything, and then or carrying with you an EpiPen, just in case. If antihistamines are not effective, other medications like these biologics, I can't.
Oh, omalizumab?
That may help. I know it's a biologic, but that's it.
Xolair.
Yeah.
We talked about Xolair recently.
Yeah, we did. May help some patients with severe symptoms. However, a small subgroup of patients may not respond to this biologic. Making lifestyle changes to avoid cold triggers along with proper medication allows most people with this to manage the condition effectively long term. However, it requires ongoing management rather than a permanent cure. So in summary, cold urticaria. Did I say it right?
Urticaria? It's fine. Urticaria.
You know what I mean by now, people. Cannot be completely cured. The prognosis is generally good with appropriate treatment and preventative strategies to minimize symptoms and prevent complications.
You know, you could just say hives.
Okay. Yes, whatever. Hives. Now, you told me that's now, when we're almost done with the cold one. Anyway, so yeah, working closely with an allergist or dermatologist is important. Yeah. So that was cold hives.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to talk about exercise-induced urticaria, which is what I had. And I remember when I first felt this, I was really, really, really young.
So you don't have it anymore?
No, I do. I still have it.
Oh, yeah?
But it usually happens when I stop exercising for a while.
Okay.
And then I get back into it. I jump
Okay.
back into it. But mostly not like with lifting weights. Like I have to actually be like circulating blood, like sweating. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So like cardio, walking, running, anything like that definitely causes it. And then, but once I've been doing that consistently, it's almost like my body just
It gets used
like,
to it, maybe.
tolerates
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and I don't get that at all.
And it builds a tolerance, maybe.
Yeah,
to it.
exactly.
Interesting.
But a lot of people have it too. Have you ever had someone do a massage gun on you and then you feel like some itchiness?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, like after like repeated like
Yes,
pressure.
like
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's that. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So imagine that, but like all over your body.
Ugh.
Okay. And then if you scratch, your mark of scratching will be like 10 times worse
Ugh.
because of that. And that's like a very clinical sign. You just brushed a person like with one of those wooden
Yeah.
popsicle sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can literally draw out their name and their name will pop up on their skin.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it's like a very, very big time inflammation. Like it's a very
Yeah,
pronounced
it's a
inflammation.
histamine.
Yeah.
It's like an allergic reaction.
Wow.
So, but anyways, and I remember when I was younger, I would have these symptoms, and I remember I would go to my doctor and I was like, yeah, like this happens. And they were kind of just, yeah, I'm not sure. And this and that. And then when I was later, like in my mid-20s, I was talking to another doctor, I'm not sure. And I guess we were talking about again, like the exercise-induced urticaria. And then he was like, oh yeah, that's like actually pretty common. You should take a Zyrtec before. And then I was like, huh. But what's weird is that I don't have the hives.
Okay.
I just have the intense itchiness.
Really?
Yeah, I just have the intense itchiness. So
And then if you scratch, you see them.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Big
okay,
time.
okay.
So man, I took the Zyrtec 30 minutes before, zero high or zero itching.
Huh. Yeah, so classic.
Yeah.
Classic that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is so interesting. I remember when you first told me that, I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, it's if you're allergic to exercising.
It's so annoying.
I'm sure it is.
It's so annoying because you are trying to exercise
Yeah.
and it happens, at least for me, it happens when you start getting back into
right.
that routine. So it's already hard to get back into a routine. And then you had this on top of it and you're just like, and again, it's like my whole entire body. And it's like this desperate,
Yeah.
like I desperately want to scratch my whole body. And the more you scratch, the itchier you are. It's terrible.
No, and here in Miami, that it's always a freaking sauna outside. So, I mean, I could only imagine you're trying to avoid sweating
Yeah.
hard like that because it'll make it itchier and you can't really like deal with. Oh my God, that sucks.
Yeah. All right. So exercise-induced hives.
Yeah.
So it's also known as exercise-induced urticaria. It's rare. I don't know if it's that rare, to be honest. 'Cause I know I actually met a couple people that have the same situation.
Maybe it's rare because a lot of people don't get like actually diagnosed with
Yeah,
it.
maybe. Where hives or welts appear on the skin during or after physical activity. Again, maybe I don't have like a full exercise-induced urticaria because I don't get the hives. I think maybe once I got the hives, but usually it's just the intense itchiness.
Okay.
But key points about this condition is basically the exact cause is unknown, but it's thought to be triggered by the rise in body temperature. So that change in temperature when you're doing exercise.
Yeah.
And then the release of histamine during exercise. So certain foods eaten before the exercise can also trigger some people. There are different subtypes, including cholinergic urticaria triggered by exercise, heat, or stress, presents with small hives, and classic exercise-induced anaphylaxis, and larger hives in more severe symptoms. So I've actually had also stress-induced hives.
No shit.
Yes.
So for you, I think it's not even exercise per se. It's just like when your blood pressure goes up or when you're like,
Or my body temperature or something like that changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had stress-induced
Interesting.
hives. I think it was during medical school.
Yeah, of course.
And
I mean,
I don't know, it was like during exams or something. And I was
Yeah.
in my room and I'm studying, but like so stressed out. And
Right.
I start itching and then I start itching, but I'm so stressed that I'm not even realizing how much I'm
Exactly.
itching. And then whatever, it was time for me to like go to class. And then I go to like put on my sweater and I have my mirror.
Right.
And just all my neck is just hives. And then I was like, oh my God.
fudge. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Interesting.
remember at that point I told myself, I'm like, wow, this is a real thing. Like people actually do get like
Yeah.
skin rashes from being stressed out.
Damn.
Yeah. So diagnosis is usually based on characteristic history, but exercise challenge test may be performed to reproduce symptoms. I don't know why people need this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
doc,
Yeah.
like I get very uncomfortable itching when I do exercise. Like, what is the doctor gonna do? Like squat for me like 60 times. I want to see if you're really telling the truth. Like, I'm just gonna tell a person, wow, that really sucks. You should take a Zyrtec.
Right?
Like that. And one doctor that saved me from all this stressful itchiness.
I know. And
Yeah.
you guys don't have the time to be like, yeah, drop down, give me 20. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Let's see
what?
if you're telling me the truth or not.
Like, just fuck off. No.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna pop out on hives and be like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, those are hives. Like,
God, that's the time that you know that you should probably see another physician at that point.
yeah. You can also do skin testing. So skin prick testing. This is actually pretty common. We do this a lot, or not we as in like generalists, but usually allergists do this to see if there's any triggers that can actually cause you like hives. So treatment involves avoiding known triggers, again, kind of like the cold urticaria, but I'm not here to be like avoid exercising. You should exercise, okay? But maybe you need to find a different way of exercising.
Or take the Zyrtec.
Yeah, exactly. Or take the Zyrtec, exactly. And then carrying an epinephrine auto injector for severe reactions. So
EpiPen.
yeah. Modifying the exercise routines to lower the intensity may also prevent the symptoms. So, like, remember how I told you how, like, when I get this, like, it's almost this insanely uncomfortable feeling, like, impending feeling. So maybe like, people say, have you ever asked someone what they feel like when they're having an allergic reaction, like an anaphylactic reaction?
No, but I mean,
So I've had patients that describe it to me, and they're like, I can tell when it's starting to happen. Like they have this like weird feeling in their body.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like, man, I'm wondering if that's like the same thing I'm feeling.
Probably. Yeah. It's like the inflammation's rising in your body, and maybe
or
it's a way that
there's
you're
a way of
feeling it.
Yeah. It's so weird.
That's probably it. Oh God, no, I don't. I don't have that.
And it's super uncomfortable.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oof, I could imagine.
But yeah, so while symptoms can be controlled, there's no definitive cure, again. Avoidance of triggers is an appropriate treatment, and also modified physical activity.
Yeah.
So in
But
summary,
don't like not stop.
don't not stop. Exactly. I actually feel like that was worse for me. When I would stop, that's when I would feel it the most.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So in summary, exercise-induced hives causes allergic skin reactions during physical activity due to unclear mechanisms involved in heat and histamine release. But prompt recognition, trigger avoidance, and medical treatment enables continued exercise for the most affected individuals.
Yeah. All right. So some symptoms on these hives. So itchy, red skin, and hives that appear in red spots, blotches, bumps, or even welts on the skin during or after exercise. The hives can occur anywhere in the body. Flushing or redness in the skin, itching of the skin, and in more severe cases, the symptoms can progress to difficulty breathing or choking feelings, swelling of the face, tongue, hands. So full on like an anaphylactic shock at this point if you're going to go into the severe possible symptoms of this. Headache, lightheadedness, or even fainting. With cholinergic hives, a subtype of exercise-induced hives, the hives appear as smaller bumps, and then they're surrounded by redness. Symptoms typically occur a few minutes of starting exercise and resolve 30 to 60 minutes after stopping, but can occasionally last even longer than that. In summary, the hallmark symptoms are itchy skin, hives, and flushing triggered by physical activity, but more severe symptoms resembling anaphylaxis can happen in some individuals. So treat this quickly so you can figure out a way of managing this condition before it actually gets into a serious possible situation in your hands. You don't want that.
Yeah. And like we said, it can be prevented, just not cured.
Not cured, yeah,
Okay?
exactly.
It's the antihistamine.
Yeah.
So Claritin, Allegra, Zyrtec.
Yeah.
Avoid eating before exercises.
Yeah.
Honestly, who eats before exercising?
You'd be surprised. There's some people out there. I don't know.
But yeah, modifying your workouts. Okay. So maybe doing a little swimming.
Yeah.
Swimming.
Don't do HIIT. Like, don't do high intensity.
High intensity.
Yeah, don't do CrossFit or anything like that. You're just a glutton for punishment at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Wear loose, breathable clothing too. So tight-fitting clothes can trap the heat inside, and also that friction. So that can also just like, I'm just getting itchy already.
I don't have this, and I feel itchy already just thinking about that. Oh.
So opt for more like loose, like moisture wicking fabrics instead, and then stay hydrated. So proper hydration is important for everyone, but especially those with exercise-induced urticaria to help regulate the body's temperature. And then identify or avoid the triggers. So just keeping track of specific things that may cause that. Thankfully, at least for me, it's just those first couple of exercises, like maybe like the first 1 to 2 weeks. After that, it's done.
Well, you see, you were able to identify that, and you identified the type of exercise that gives that to you too.
Definitely.
You know, you could do weights and it's not going to affect you. But if you go like hardcore and try to go over the Key Biscayne Bridge, yeah.
It's probably gonna trigger
And
that.
for those of you that are not in Miami, it's a very tall, very prominent bridge here, and a lot of people use it to work out.
Yeah.
I want to do it one day. Not physically there yet.
Yeah, no. And also, you know, I love that Key Biscayne Bridge. I think it's beautiful,
It's
and
beautiful,
I think it's
yeah.
gorgeous when
And it
you're
goes
working
over the
out.
water,
Yeah,
and
it goes
it's
over
like
the water.
beautiful imagery in the
And you
background
have
and
like
everything.
downtown Miami views.
Yeah.
So I love that bridge, but that bridge is highly dangerous.
I know. Well, they did the blockade now, like
There-
between
I don't know.
you know
There's
the
still
pedestrian blockade. I mean,
There's still people that get run over by cars all the time there.
yeah. I mean, it's Miami. I don't doubt it. You know, but I mean, yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend that to like, for instance, you or something like that. You're gonna sweat. Your blood pressure's gonna go.
I don't
you know,
think
all
I
that
don't
stuff.
think so much that it's like the cars. I just think that because everyone goes there to exercise,
Yeah.
you have people walking, you
That's
have
true.
people running, you have people stopping to take
And in
pictures,
bikes.
you have people on bikes, you have
Yeah.
people rollerblading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just so many people for one thin little lane. You know?
Yeah. It's best. Definitely don't do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
The weekend that's stacked, especially in the mornings. Like it's ridiculous. It looks like, you know, there's a freaking, how do you call this? Like a marathon going on every weekend there. No. If I would do it, it would have to be like on a Monday morning, you know, something like that. Everybody's working, kids are already in school. Like, I don't know, something like that. Then I'll do it. But I
You'll
want to
do
do it one day.
You'll
I got it.
All right. So the other meds, the stronger meds, you can take Montelukast, you can take Xolair, and you could take an EpiPen. I'm just kidding. Don't take the EpiPen unless you really Yeah, I know. Oh, feeling itchy.
No, don't.
But anyways, while it may not be possible to completely prevent exercise-induced hives, in all cases, working with a doctor to develop a, prevention plan is, you could do that too. All right.
Yeah. So key points in long-term management. There's no proven strategies to prevent it. But of course, try to single out how this happens to you. Why does this happen to you? What triggers it, in essence? Because completely avoiding exercise is not ideal. There's way too many studies out there. You could do a whole podcast on its own on the benefits of exercising.
Yeah.
The benefits definitely outweigh the risks in this situation. And just take the antihistamines before exercise if you feel like this is something that definitely happens to you and it bothers you to the point that it's stopping you from exercising. And also this condition, just like she had said in her own experience, it could actually get better as you keep exercising little by little, keep increasing that. So, and if you're still worried about it, talk to your doctor. But yeah, don't put down the exercise. In other words, that's what I was trying to get to. And she's going to go over, because I probably won't be able to mention more than half of these, other types of urticarias, other types of hives, because these are the two that were requested. That's the word, that they were requested to us on threads. And actually, let me read out who it was from. Okay. So the exercise-induced hives came from @2wolvesunited on threads. And the cold hives came from @live-like you're on vacation.
I love that.
I love that. I definitely do that if you can. We did the two that were specifically requested for us to do, but there are a bunch of other types of hives. So she's going to go ahead and mention a few of them, at least some more common other ones out there.
Yeah. So physical urticaria, so hives triggered by the physical stimulus so here are some of them. So dermographism, that's actually what I was explaining, the
okay.
the like scratching your skin
And then it
welts up. That's we call that dermatographia or whatever.
Okay.
You do that test to see if it's positive or not.
Okay.
It's basically caused by rubbing or scratching the pressure of the skin, and then you kind of get welts from it. Okay. So cold urticaria, like we just talked, so triggered exposure to cold. Heat urticaria, triggered by heat. Solar urticaria, so triggered by UV exposure or
My
sunlight.
mom has that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If we go to the beach, she could only do maybe, like when we go to the beach for like, a whole week or whatever, she could only go in the mornings and maybe like at sunset. She has to avoid the hardcore exposure, and it will not fail after 3 days. After the third day, she will have it even if she avoided it as much. She'll like it, and it's like hives all over.
Oh my God. Okay, because
All over. Yeah.
terrible. So pressure urticaria, so triggered by sustained pressure on the skin. Vibratory urticaria, so triggered by vibrations. That's what I was telling you, like when you have the massage
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I always get that one.
Huh.
Cholinergic urticaria, so hives triggered by increase in body temperature, such as from exercise, hot baths, or emotional stress.
Maybe that's what you have.
No, I definitely had that. That was like true. I saw it. Physical signs. Like at least
Yeah.
like my exercise one, I don't really see. I have a positive dermatographic test.
Right.
But I don't. Sorry guys, that was a. Oh look, another thumbs up. I don't have hives, but that day that I had that stress one, I did.
You did.
Like you could see the hives.
Interesting.
Contact urticaria, so hives that develop after direct contact with a certain substance. So that could be latex, foods, or cosmetics.
So that's like the people that have a latex allergy or whatever.
Yes.
That's what it is, right?
There's actually people that have aquagenic urticaria. So this is super rare. Okay.
I saw this like on a news article
Yeah, but
a
there's
long
people
time
that
ago.
have that. Yeah, it's triggered by
Crazy.
contact with water. Wow. Yeah, and I have seen this be worse when it's cold water. So maybe it does have to do a little bit with that change
Right.
in temperature.
Right.
And then exercise-induced urticaria, anaphylaxis, so hives and potentially severe allergic reactions triggered by physical activity. So some conditions that were previously classified as urticaria pigmentosa or mastocytosis and urticarial vasculitis are no longer considered true hives since they have different underlying mechanisms. So sometimes you can get like urticarial like vasculitis from like other things like physical activities and stuff. So yeah. But in summary, while acute and chronic spontaneous hives are the most common, there are many potential triggers of urticaria, especially physical stimuli that define rare subtypes and conditions. Identifying the specific trigger, if present, is key to managing it and also recognizing it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. So just like you guys saw here, if you want to recommend anything, let us know. We will definitely put it at the top of our list because we do have an extensive, ever-growing list of topics to cover. But as soon as you guys recommend something or request, that's the word, request something, we bring it up to the top and we cover it as soon as we can. And if you guys want us to mention you, like I just did right now in this episode, we definitely will. And if you don't, then just let me know and we won't. But yeah, you could either comment it, DM it, email it, funnymedicine305@gmail.com, however you prefer. And yeah, I hope you guys liked this episode. Check out our Patreon if you haven't. You get the video a full week in advance of these episodes if you're a Patreon subscriber, and you also get a full additional extra episode every week if you're a Patreon subscriber as well. And since we're hidden behind the paywall, we're a little more loose, a little more giggly, a little more things. Yeah. Anyway, so check us out there. That's patreon.com/funnymedicine podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.